I don't know if this is a me problem or an everyone problem. Maybe you'll be able to enlighten me. I'm unsure if dating works unless you play the game anymore. And for context, I've been back in the dating world recently and I've had this slightly annoying feeling that just being myself might not always be the most effective strategy. Which of course sounds horrible and self-deprecating, but I'm not meaning it like that. Because obviously the healthy advice is always just be yourself, be authentic, let the right person like the real you. And I of course agree with that, in theory. But then you actually start dating and you realize there's this whole unspoken layer to it. How you present yourself, how quickly you reply, how much personality you show. And then suddenly dating doesn't feel like two people getting to know each other. It feels like you're trying to optimize yourself enough for someone to even give you a chance. And that's what I mean by playing the game. I don't necessarily mean being manipulative or lying or cheating. That still sucks. I mean being strategic. I mean creating this slightly more polished dating version of yourself. The version that seems more spontaneous, confident, relaxed, socially interesting, emotionally stable, but somehow still exciting. And I think that's where dating starts getting weird, because presentation matters, of course it does. First impressions of course matter. How you show up of course matters. No one is saying you should go on the first date and immediately reveal every insecurity, every childhood wound you've ever had. No. But there is always going to be some version of us that does get presented first. And I think modern dating has pushed that to this weird extreme. Because before someone meets the real you, they often meet your dating persona, the mask we all wear, the curated version of ourselves. And the annoying thing is, sometimes that version works. Sometimes being more strategic actually does get you more attention. Like sometimes being slightly less available, it works. Sometimes presenting the most polished version of yourself, it does make people more bought into who you are. But then the challenge is the real question has to emerge. What are they buying into? Are they interested in you, or are they interested in this version of you that you created to actually get through that door? Because I think that's the actual danger. You can become so good at being appealing that you forget to ask whether you're actually being authentic. And I think I've felt that before, that subtle moment where you think, am I being honest, or am I trying to seem like the kind of person someone would want to be with? And ultimately that's exhausting, because once someone buys into the persona, you have to keep the persona alive. You can't just let it die. You have to keep being the chilled version. You have to be the person who doesn't overthink, who doesn't need reassurance. The person who never feels awkward, insecure, tired, anxious, needy, or even a bit emotionally weird. But eventually the real you, it has to come out, because no one can date a brand forever. At some point, they meet the human behind the brand. And that's the problem with building attraction around a persona. Yes, it might get you through the door. But if the version of you they like is not the version of you that actually exists and can sustain, then what are you building? Anyway, that's my reflection of the day. Take it or leave it. I'll see you at the next one.